Mitch McConnell keeps his promise. I think he's made a fundamental promise, not just to senators who are called upon to cast votes, we hope, we expect in September, but I think he's made a promise to the country that we're going to have at least 2 votes. One on a background check bill, and the important footnote there is a universal background check bill that's rigorous, not a watered down version. And the best bill that's in the Senate, it's been there 170 days roughly, is the House passed bill, H.R. 8, I guess it is, I think I have the number right. H.R. 8 has been sitting there, and that would be universal background checks, and it would cover all kinds of transactions that some bills don't cover. For example, if a friend transfers a firearm to another friend, that should be covered by a background check. Some bills have that friend-to-friend exchange exempt. I think every bill has a family-to-family exemption, but friend-to-friend should be covered. So I think Majority Leader McConnell has promised a background check debate and vote. He's also promised a vote on what some call red flag, but I think the professionals in the field think that's the wrong word, the wrong language. We should call it what it is: Extreme Risk Protection Order, or if you want to use an acronym, ERPO. But these extreme risk protection orders would be provided by law, and by the way, Governor Wolf is working on both these issues at a state level, trying to use executive action to do a background check and maybe get legislation as well as extreme risk protection. But there would be you'd in essence petition a court in Pennsylvania, be petitioning the Court of Common Pleas to say, as a family member, I know of a family member who is exhibiting erratic behavior or dangerous behavior, could be a threat to themselves or to others, and they have a firearm. I'm concerned about it. It could be law enforcement who has knowledge about an individual who's a threat to themselves or others and has a firearm. They'd petition the court, and the court would provide an opportunity for a hearing, and then the court makes a determination. These would be a temporary, it would take a firearm away from someone on a temporary basis because of the threat posed by that individual. The due process is provided in this kind of circumstance where it's not some government agency removing a firearm, it's a court where both sides have a chance to present their case. So I think Mitch McConnell has made a promise to at least have votes on those 2, background check and extreme risk protection order. Now I hope he would go further and allow us to have a debate and a vote on a limitation on the magazines, the number of bullets anyone, my way of describing it in a very non-professional expertise, I'm not an expert on bullets, but the number of bullets any one person can shoot at any one time. We know that in Dayton, the killer in 32 seconds killed 9 people and injured more than 20. In 32 seconds, he was able to kill 9 people and injure that many people. Law enforcement was there, I think within minutes, if not only a minute. And still, even though the heroic, prompt response by law enforcement was enough because of the weapon and the number of bullets he had. I would hope we would also have a debate and a vote on a ban on the military-style weapon. We know when that ban was in place before, we had fewer of those weapons of war on our streets. I don't know why we wouldn't at least debate that. Even if someone could guarantee me that all these votes won't prevail, it's important that the American people see us voting on these issues. We should vote on the terrorist loophole, the Charleston loophole. I've got a bill on hate crimes, a misdemeanor hate crime violation. I mean, there's a list. I think I'm a co-sponsor now of about 10 different bills in the Senate, all of which, if they passed this year, would not eliminate this problem from the face of the earth. But if you pass a number of measures, you're going to do 2 things. Number 1 is you're not going to infringe on any Second Amendment right. None of these bills do that. Number 2, though, you would at least reduce the likelihood that you'll have another mass shooting. Or instead of having the numbers we've had, hundreds since Newtown just 6 years ago, Newtown, Connecticut, almost 7 years ago. I guess it'll be seven years in December. but we have to take action. This idea that we as Americans have to surrender to a problem is crazy. We've never surrendered to a problem. We've never said that problem's too big. We didn't do that in World War II. We didn't do that in the Depression. We didn't do that in the last recession. When we have a challenge in front of us, whether it's gun violence or an economic downturn, or whether it's confronting an enemy on the world stage, we come together as one American family and we act. We don't surrender and say there's nothing we can do, that the only thing the greatest, most powerful country in the world can do is to enforce existing law. That doesn't make any sense. We could do a lot better on enforcing existing law, but that's not enough. Everyone knows, for example, these weapons of war are causing destruction we've never seen before. We're the only country in the world that has a gun violence problem at this scale. And I think Americans believe we can begin to reduce the likelihood and not surrender to a problem.